welcome to the Come Up, the podcast where we dive into the exciting world of what's on the rise. I'm your host, Abraham, and on today's episode, we have one of my good friends, Isaiah from Grim and Gruesome, right? That's what it's
That's
called.
the one. Respect it, don't neglect it.
Well, thank you for joining me today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me. Look, I was looking forward to this whole week.
Hell yeah. So, can you tell us a bit about Grim and Gruesome, and how it came to be?
Absolutely. So, uh, funny enough, I moved, of course, to Los Angeles about a year ago, or I guess 14 months if you want to get technical. And a previous friend that I had who also attended the LA Film School, of course, for those who don't know, that's where me and Abraham have met. Uh, we were kind of sitting around and brainstorming on ideas of content that we could kind of put out. And we both always had a passion, well, I guess for lack of a better term, a passion and a bit of an interest in true crime stories. The way most people, let's be honest, we're all a little morbidly curious. We watch things we're not supposed to, or well, kind of that way. So we decided to kind of bank on some of the former, shows, whatever you want to call them, that had talked about true crime, unfortunate tragedies that have unfolded, and kind of just shed light on them, even the lesser known ones.
Yeah, so you're doing this with a friend of yours that you met there.
So, yeah, kind of. We're actually both from Los Banos, California. Yeah, there I go
Mhm.
again. Los Banos, California, the eventful place. Yeah, no, he's the only friend I have out here that
Uh-huh.
comes from there. So we both decided to mutually brainstorm ideas together.
Like, so because I was wondering, because I know there was a couple of videos on there that I was seeing that it was a whole different voice. I was like, who the heck is this? So now
That's
I'm
him.
like, yeah,
Those are usually pickup shoots. I mean, he does it too, but he's a kick-ass editor. He's a kick-ass camera op. He does all of that. I'm really there to help him do some of the writing,
mhm.
for the scripts and teleprompts. And yeah, he's edits it. He gets the images. He records it. He does all the extra stuff.
Yeah. I was wondering who was doing the editing because I know
Mhm.
you get frustrated. I know you gotten frustrated with editing in the past.
Yeah, editing was not my strong suit, but to tell you the truth, I've gotten more accustomed to it now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
but at that time, yeah, it was not good.
yeah. So how do you guys choose which two crime stories to cover? Or
So yeah, tell you the truth, like I said, we've both been very invested in true crime stories over like time, and we've always just kind of brainstormed like, hey, the case about, for example, the first video to get us to 1,000 views on YouTube at least was the Menendez brothers case.
mm-hmm.
And I brought that up to him because I was telling him about the Mark Jackson, I think. Yeah, Mark Jackson basketball card. I don't know if you guys know about that. Where they're seen on the courtside seats in the background of the image. We went, why don't we do that? So it's usually a lot of just us kind of remembering, and we do research as well. I don't want to use the word popular, but what is currently talked about.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, yeah, because I think some of my favorite ones you guys have covered, was like the Chalino. I think you guys covered Chalino Sanchez, right?
Yes, we did. Janino
And
Sanchez is another good
Jeffrey
one.
Dahmer was one of my other favorite ones you guys covered, and the
The
Cecil
Cecil Hotel.
Hotel. But how did you guys start like your research and whatnot? You guys looking up online and stuff, or
Yes. So funny enough, we yeah, just the research, just kind of get that going. And I know this is a big no-no, especially in the current events of the industry. But in order to get the information, we would use just Google. It's a basic one. Google it, get some articles going, and then we write it in. I would be lying to you if I told you we haven't used ChatGPT though. We have used ChatGPT just to kind of get us some quick information about it.
mm-hmm.
For like, usually we would, on average, film about 3 to 5 videos a day. Granted, they're each a minute, so it's like we just kind of bang, bang, bang.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some in bulk for the week.
Hell yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that Chat GPT is kind of useful though.
It
It
has its uses if you use it right, but like
yeah.
that's just use it as a tool and nothing more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause I'm not gonna lie for like. by the previous podcast that I filmed lately, I have used it to like because there was times where I was stuck with coming up with questions and whatnot. So I would ask it, well, give me some questions on like for like in this case, for your this episode, I was like, give me some questions to ask a friend about true crime and whatnot. I got some of those, but can put it into my little notes. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
See, there you
beautiful.
go.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing more than that, though. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's just basic tools and basic conduciveness that it can serve.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, good. Um, so what kind of impact do you guys hope to achieve to your true crimes vids?
That's a good question. If I had to say, it's the I guess the sense of getting the stories out there, especially the lesser known ones. Of course, we give as much disclaimer as we can that by no means are we trying to promote or glorify, for lack of a better term, the actions of some of these people or some of the unfortunate stories. Let's say, for example, we want to give as much respect to the victims and the victims' families that we can. And we would want to just spread more word about it. For example, some of the lesser known story. Everyone, of course, knows about the story of Jeffrey Dahmer or the
Mhm.
Menendez brothers, but not a lot of people know about the case of Obdulia Sanchez, who was in a car crash, inevitably, unfortunately, killing her sister in the process. And if I had to say the impact to answer your question, it would be to just tell people, hey, these things happen, unfortunately, and you can learn from these mistakes so that way you don't have to.
Mhm.
And it's, of course, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a sense of, I hate saying that, but there is a sense of entertainment to people finding, like, oh, this is interesting. But like I've said, we're all relatively morbidly curious and we all kind of
No
hear
way.
about it and we talk about it.
Mhm. So which one was the one? I think he was a serial killer. The one that was all over California, and then he ended up getting caught by some by like a neighborhood.
So that sounds like you're describing Richard Ramirez, the Night
I
Stalker.
think it was Richard
It
Ramirez.
was here. It was in Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then yes, that was Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker. There we go. I
Mhm.
don't. That one really fucking interested me as well.
It's kind of wild some of the stuff.
Mm.
The reason why I feel that when I say morbidly curious is any sane person such as me or you wouldn't go off and commit heinous acts because we have a conscience tells us like no, we wouldn't want that done to one of us or one of our family members, God forbid. It's like, but some people don't have that. Either it's trauma or it's some kind of. I mean, I'm no psychologist or anything. I'm no expert, but from what I know, yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. So fucking have you ever wanted to go down to the Cecil?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I remember making plans about doing it at some point. I'll let you know. Maybe we can get others
And we
on board.
should go.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we can walk over there. I mean, not
Mm-hmm.
from here, but over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
From
Is it the how far is it from the school? Do you know?
Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. No, the Cecil Hotel's in downtown,
Yeah,
so it would be a drive.
downtown. That would be
Obviously,
a drive.
Hollywood and freaking
Mm-hmm.
DTLA are fairly far. So yeah, we would probably have to drive, but it's probably like no more than a 20-minute drive, give or
Mm-hmm.
take. LA traffic. You
Hell yeah.
always got
Yeah,
to count that fucking LA traffic.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be down to go though.
Definitely. The
Mm-hmm.
the one I was thinking of was the Roosevelt Hotel, which is actually on Hollywood Boulevard, which is like 2 blocks over, of course, from the school.
Yeah, is that place haunted as well?
There is a lot of story about it, yeah, that it
Mm-hmm.
is. For example, Marilyn Monroe, I believe, stayed there for 2 years of her life, if I'm not mistaken. There's been a series of other things that have allegedly unfolded there that are paranormal related.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have to look more into it to tell you more, but
Hell yeah. Yeah, fucking yeah, the Cecil. Holy shit.
that shit's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, dude, it's um yeah, there's a lot to see, especially in the greater Los Angeles area. It's home to a lot of history of all of
Hmm.
that at pretty much magnitude I just described, like the true crime movies, of course, the entertainment
Hmm.
industry, everything.
Yeah. Are there any specific cases or stories that have left a lasting impact on you?
Yeah. Um, if I had to say one, was probably the so this was some one that we kind of will like put off doing for a while, but of course the shooting, the school shooting in Uvalde,
Mm.
Texas, of course, had unfolded in 2022. For a while, we did kind of want to put off talking about shootings and those kinds of tragedies because they're very sensitive topics, and unfortunately, America is no stranger to public massacres. And if I had to say that one, of course, we'd seen them, we'd seen a few of them throughout our lives, but that one happening at an elementary school where kids, little children, were
Mm-hmm.
murdered mercilessly was something that I remember thinking. No, nobody. This goes back to an old saying of having a kid die over that circumstance would
Mm-hmm.
really what cause somebody to lose any kind of faith that they may have had in, let's say, God or whatever higher being that they may believe
Yeah.
in. But it would just cause anybody, because nobody should have to bury their child. That's something that's really that must be hard for anybody to think about. So if I had to say, that was a difficult one to kind of wrap my head, even when it had happened, of course, it was.
Yeah, what was that one? The one where that motherfucker said it was a conspiracy theory or some shit like that, that it was faked?
I think so. There were a number of people that have said that it was faked, and don't get me wrong; these are just conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones types
Mm-hmm.
that come out and say, "Oh yeah, it was all staged for the sake of gun control by the government or whoever." But tell you the truth, it's like no, it happened. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
let's just let's just leave it at that. Like these victims, these people were killed, and let's mourn them for a minute because that was horrible. Regardless of who's responsible, let's give that a moment because there were people that were killed and children at that and families that were affected by it. So we need to give respect to them.
Mm-hmm. So saying all that, what's your opinion on guns and whatnot? Should they ban all guns or better laws or you know?
To tell you the truth, I'm a little torn on that. I would have to say in a public manner that it's something. If I had to speak a little bit on it, not too much, but if I
Mm-hmm.
had to speak a little bit on it, it's probably. I mean, guns are of course written in the Second Amendment, so Americans are given the right to bear arms. So that's where everyone goes back to. Guns, of course, do come with a very, very big negative.
Mm-hmm.
They're misused all the time, so people die. But I do think that they do serve a purpose in keeping people safe. Unfortunately, the dog eat dog world that we live in, you know, somebody has a gun, tries to shoot you. What are you gonna do? Try to talk him out of it? I mean, good luck, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wish you the best. I really do, but that's
Yeah.
kind of where I could say it's like it's they serve their purpose and they do have use in society.
Yeah, because I used to get asked a lot whether I'm like pro gun or anti gun. I can never actually give an actual answer. 'Cause like I'm like right in the middle. I see both sides of it. Because I have shut off guns before. I see why people like them, and then at the same time, I see why people hate them.
I don't get me wrong. I myself am not a gun owner, and I actually, but my family, they're all. I have a brother who's a gun owner, a few others, and yeah, no, they're fun. Don't get me wrong. When you go
Hmm.
out, you're shooting. That's cool, but you're being smart about it. You're practicing safety.
They're
But
good in the right hands.
exactly.
Hmm.
So it's not the gun's fault, but that's the thing is like it goes back to it. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. And
Hmm.
that's kind of the idea of like it's not that we should take the guns away. We should take You need to attack a problem at the source, and that's where the people start. People are clearly deranged. Oh, excuse me. People are clearly deranged or have some kind of mental illness or whatever you want to call it, and they decide to. I mean, they could have easily picked up a kitchen knife and went outside
Mm-hmm.
and started stabbing people. I mean, you would have been equally as tragic. But you don't see us saying we got to get rid of knives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so like this one for your going back to like the true crime stuff, there was this video that you put out that you went to one of some serial killer's house. You guys drove past it.
Yes, we did.
Well, where was that at? Was that in downtown LA? Or is
No, so it's more. Go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know. It's more South Central, like Southern LA, right there on Figueroa Street, kind of
right?
close to. I think it's right there, bordered with like Inglewood, kind of close right there to like Slauson, kind of the route we would take to go to school. Right
Yeah,
there,
so I think pretty sure it's South Central.
yeah, South Central, and
Mm-hmm.
it's right there off of Figueroa Street.
Mm-hmm.
You and me,
Yeah.
where the epidemic is currently happening of favors of the sexual persuasion.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm not gonna the other day because like I've never been. I wasn't gonna fucking do anything, but I just wanted to fucking drive through it.
There
Just
you
to
go. You're
see.
curious. You can't help it.
Mm-hmm. But then I was like, nah, I could just go down to the my local park and just go down to the canal, fucking see that shit.
Exactly. I mean, you
Mhm.
can find it anywhere. I mean, under the bridge. No, but if I had to say, I mean, to tell you the truth, I've been up and down that street because, well, one, I've door dashed there for whatever reason. Like when I go door dashing, it would be one of the nearest hotspots is right there in Fig. So I would always see that kind of activity, unwillingly, really. But
Mhm.
no,
Have any of them come up to you?
no,
No.
no. I think you have to go to them.
Mhm.
Which I obviously will not do, but yeah,
Fuck
that's
that. Too many diseases. Who knows?
it. Just seems like a lot of problems. To tell you the truth, like overall,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot. I know there's a lot of police activity there too. So like, if you're seen, obviously the police know what's going on there. So if you're
Hmm.
stopping and talking to some woman who's evidently a prostitute, they're probably gonna stop you too and go, "Yo, what are you guys doing?"
Yeah. So, so what advice would you give to aspiring content creators interested in exploring the true crime genre?
I would go as far to say content creation is always great, and anyone can do it. Really, it's always a matter of you just trying to put yourself forward. And there's always a million reasons not to do something, and that goes with anything. You're always going to tell yourself you're not good enough. Everyone has some level of imposter syndrome where they doubt themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
it's natural, unfortunately, really. But if I had to give advice to the content creation aspect of it, especially the true crime, is one, do your research, please. You don't want to give false information. Just do your research. Make sure it's accurate.
Hell yeah.
And also make sure it's told from an unbiased standpoint. And that's kind of why I do my best to not speak my opinion too much. If I'm asked, then I'll kind of give like a yes and no, but I do my best. But you always want to be unbiased about it. And number three, be tasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Be tasteful because these are real. And it's definitely something of you don't want it to come off a certain way, which maybe it
Yeah.
has for me. I mean, maybe I'm not the best advisor for that, but I mean, we do what we can at the end of the day.
Mm, do you read any of the comments?
Kind of, I've peeked at them. I don't actively read them to tell you the truth, but I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've read them for a ton of time, and I'm like, okay, so something I don't know. I think it's the fact that I know you, but
Yeah,
some of these comments are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
some of them are like overly harsh, and some of them
Mm-hmm.
are like, yeah, okay, that's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, everyone's entitled to their go ahead and say whatever you want, but it's just funny because sometimes it's like I don't know what you're trying to do here, like what's your end game here. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, there was one point I almost replied to someone in the comments, but they were like, nah, I had to stop myself because I'm like, I don't want this negativity affecting you, like your guys' channel or whatever.
Well, I do thank you. It's
Mhm.
the reason why I choose not to is one, I mean, I'll look at them. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't, and I see these comments people say, and that's fine. Say what you want, but I can say I'm not going to feed into it because there's an old saying I say is don't feed the trolls. Don't
Mm-hmm.
bring more attention to yourself by trying to respond. And like for example, to tell you the truth, one was I won't say who, but he was it was funny. I think he said like button up your shirt. It doesn't look professional, and
I think I
whoever
remember
said that
reading
at
that.
me.
I think I remember.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was funny. I went,
Mhm.
okay, that actually is a valid point about the shirt. Like, okay, I'm gonna button my shirt up. I was trying something. Let me experiment a little bit. And number two, screw off. I'm not putting makeup on. Like, no, I don't like that shit on my face. Like, I've had
Mm-hmm.
it before. If I have to, I'll do it. But I won't do it willingly. Like, if I don't have to do it, I won't do it. It's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people these days on the internet, they like to hide behind the screen.
pretty funny. But
Yeah.
can I ask you a quick question?
But
What is your ultimate goal when it comes to what you want to do in the entertainment industry?
damn, my ultimate goal, enjoy, have fun, give people something they can be entertained by. Like, maybe even for like because we're in the film industry, so like people go out, make sure they have entertainment for 2 hours, movies, forget about their life for a while. Yeah, make people happy pretty much.
Yeah,
Forget
absolutely.
about their life for a sec.
Yeah, that's always a nice escapist. I mean,
Hmm.
or escape. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, that's why we're all in this industry, right? We're all fans of entertainment, film, shows, music, anything really,
Hmm.
and we all can relate to it to some degree. I mean, there's plenty of horrible things in the world. I mean, I run a channel talking about it, which, but it's the idea though is nobody needs to hear about that all the time. People want to just go watch a movie that they've been anticipating. I mean,
Oh yeah.
sure Barbenheimer is a big meme right now. I mean, I still haven't seen Barbie, but I've seen Oppenheimer, and people keep
Oh,
saying it like, "Oh, this is getting people to go back to the fucking movies." Oh my gosh! And it's like, have they not? Like, have they not already been doing that? I was under the impression they have, but apparently since the pandemic, it's been like pretty shoddy. Movies have been very, very, very much underperforming, which makes me honestly really sad because I love going to the movies. I never stopped, even during the pandemic. The moment
mhm.
my theater opened, I was smart about it, masked up, but they were doing replays of old films just to get some revenue. I was there.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I gone to the movies. I think the last one I seen was actually this was actually I think a couple months ago. The Puss in Boots movie.
You saw that? That
Yeah,
was
I
like
actually saw that.
Christmas.
Was
That
that
was like
Christmas?
that was in like December when that shit came out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time I went.
Dude, I go to the
Yeah.
movies so much. I think I go to the movies at least like once a week, at least. And that's also because I go like that's something great about moving to LA is they have a lot of the revival theaters like the New Beverly Cinema, the New Art, the Arrow Theater, Brain
Hmm.
Dead. It's just great. The Alamo Draft House. So they always do reshowings of older films.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get back to how was without spoiling, how was Oppenheimer?
It was phenomenal. I would go as far to say it was definitely Nolan's best film. However, fairly different from his other films. Tell you the truth, I was never the biggest Nolan fan. I've watched the surplus of his films, and I
Hmm.
like his style. Don't get me wrong; I'm not saying he's a bad director by any means, but he's just not particularly my favorite.
Hmm.
But Oppenheimer was so good in terms of the Cillian Murphy gives such a good performance in the film. Who plays J. Robert Oppenheimer? The performances from everybody were so good, even the minor characters like Josh Peck. Josh Peck's in it.
Oh shit, no way.
The movie's stacked. The cast is fucking crazy. It's like I don't know. Nolan just went, "Hey, who wants to be in this movie? Who
Mhm.
wants to be? You show of hands. Who wants to be
Well,
in it?" And they all just said, "Yeah."
I,
Like,
I did get invited to fucking watch it last night. Or was it last? Yeah, last night. I didn't go. And they were paying for my ticket as well. Cause one of my friends, he fucking like has had like I think like 10 free movie tickets. I decided not to go for whatever reason.
Dude, you should have told me. I would have went, guys. I would have gone to see that shit a second time. No questions asked.
Yeah, I
To tell you
don't.
the truth, I still haven't seen Barbie because, like, well, one, the tickets are sold out just about everywhere.
Mhm.
Number two, uh, I am gonna see it at some point, but I'm not like super crazy excited for it. To tell you the truth,
Yeah, I'll eventually fucking see Oppenheimer eventually. Cause right
yeah,
now there's like places are crowded. The hype is there. I'm gonna wait for it to like cool down a bit.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Hmm.
If I had to say more on my end, though, it's just like the reason why I think these movies are a big deal is because it's getting another experience going for people. Like opening night, I went to see Oppenheimer opening night,
Hmm.
and it was like going to see Avengers Endgame again, or something to that degree. Or before that, it would be like Star Wars, where it was like an event. Like you got dressed up to go to this fucking movie, and that's the experience I had. I went to the AMC in Burbank,
Hmm.
and it was just great. Like everyone was dressed up in pink, doing the whole Barbie thing, and then there were people in suits wearing like nice suits with ties, and then like a fucking pink tutu around just to do the Barbenheimer thing. It was really cool. It was an experience. You had to be
Uh,
there to see it. Mm.
yeah, but you went up to Burbank to see it though,
I go to Burbank. I actually go with Ricardo all the time. Me and him
Ricardo.
we go to the Burbank theater all the time. We make the trek like 30
Hmm.
minutes.
Well, that is halfway between. Isn't the thing Burbank is like the halfway point, huh? Between Ricardo and
And
us.
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean maybe a little bit less for him because
Hmm.
he's in Santa Clarita. So for us, it's probably like a 30-minute drive on a good day. On a
On a
bad day,
good
it's
day.
maybe like 45,
Hmm.
maybe closer
Me
to an hour.
more. Yeah, fucking a couple weeks ago when I had a cine too. The week before we went on to summer break for the traffic was horrible. I think I spent about an hour and a half in traffic from the school to home.
Yeah, I think I could relate. I never quite think about it, but yeah. Oh, we only got less than 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
probably
is there
gonna have
any
to.
final questions you got? Anything you want to finalize?
Yeah. Um, what challenges or obstacles have you encountered while creating true crime reels, and how do you overcome them?
To finalize that, um, I would say one is trying to find, like I mentioned before, proper information that isn't either secondhand, told from a bias, or just flat out false. Those are the three. Granted, you could find true information just by going around and different sources and seeing if they say the same thing, like fact checking it, making sure it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. In our early content, or like our early stages of our content, I think we did get not anything wrong about the stories themselves, just like, for example, I remember one was our first video was the chocolate candy murders. To tell you the truth, I cringe at that one so bad because I'm like in the suit and I'm the chocolate candy. I remember thinking it was funny.
Yeah, your guys' videos have gotten better since that first one.
Granted,
Definitely.
that's all part of the learning process, the trial and error. However, when we were supposedly that's not the proper name for that case. It's not called the chocolate candy murders. It is. I think it has been referred to as that, but that's not the like actual term. I think it's called like the cyanide or the Tylenol cyanide killings or something, if I'm not mistaken. But again, point is like somebody did make that comment, like, "Hey, that's not what it's actually called. At least not like publicly."
Mm.
So that was one example of it.
Nice, nice. True crime can be a sensitive subject. How do you ensure that your content is respectful towards the victims and their families while still engaging your audience?
I would say it kind of goes back to what I was saying is saying it is saying it as concise and as unbiased as you can, just to display the facts, saying, "Hey, this happened. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate. It's very tragic. So you take it as you may, and you come up with your interpretation, or because at the end of the day, everything's about interpretation and perception, and
Mhm.
we're just stating the facts, laying them out in front of the viewer, and the viewer takes it as they do.
Mhm. So, so I want to get into some would you rather questions real quick. So, would you rather spend a night alone in the house of a notorious serial killer or camp out in the wilderness where an infamous crime occurred?
Oh, that's a toughie. I'm gonna have to go with the house, just because I mean the woods. Fuck the woods, dude. Fuck like
Mm-hmm.
the middle of nowhere. No, no, gracias. Fuck that shit, dude. I don't think I'd get any sleep either one, but
Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah. Would you rather have the ability to interview a deceased serial killer and learn all their secrets, or have access to classified case files that could potentially solve multiple cold cases?
definitely the second one. I think. Tell you the truth, I don't give a shit about serial killer secrets. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's it's got nothing to do with me. But cold cases, being able to bring light to cases that have probably left people wondering and scratching their heads and giving conclusions to the victims, I would love to do that. That sounds like a great contribution.
Would you rather have the opportunity to prevent a high-profile crime from happening or solve a mystery surrounding an infamous cold case?
No, you haven't asked me that. And I would definitely go with number one. Prevent a murder before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I would love to give conclusion to the unsolved one. However, let's talk about now. If there's one about to happen and I have the power to stop it, well, I'm gonna stop it.
Oh yeah. Would you rather uncover new evidence that could exonerate someone who has been wrongfully convicted, or successfully identify an unknown serial killer?
I'm sorry. What was the first one again?
Would you rather uncover new evidence that could exonerate someone who has been wrongfully convicted, or successfully identify an unknown serial killer?
The first one too. You never know how much. If I had to say, somebody spending life in prison
Mm-hmm.
that didn't deserve it or didn't do a conviction charge, nobody should have that. That's why we have so many of that in American justice system. Not to say that the justice system is entirely flawed, but it does have its faults where that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing does happen, unfortunately.
So where can people go check out all your content?
So you can find us on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Usually, predominantly, YouTube Shorts is where we post, but we usually try to stay in tandem on both.
Yeah, are you guys still uploading on TikTok? Because I don't think I've seen any new video on there yet in a while.
Uh, I'd have to talk with my guy to tell you the truth because I don't even have TikTok or use TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So to tell you the truth, I think we are not. Now that you're saying it, you know what, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think the last video I seen on there was in May.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it had already been some time, like 2 months.
Yeah, the last one you guys have on there is a Susan Smith case.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Um.
Yeah, but you guys are doing good out there though with putting stuff out.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, we're gonna get cracking on it.
Uh, so did you guys like have like a studio or something you guys do it at, or like someone's
So
house?
yeah, no, originally no. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I was speaking. I was excited to share. Yeah, no. The first like batch of videos, our last two videos are the first ones we did. Actually, where we changed it to like it wasn't a studio, but it's a set for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
So the first like batch of videos were in the living room of my friend's apartment. He lives there with his girlfriend, and they live in Huntington Park. Funny enough,
Mm-hmm.
so close to us.
Mm-hmm.
Very local to us, Mr.
Yeah.
Gardenia and Linwood. But he was we were just doing it right there with the velvet sheets. I mean, the curtains behind us, and it was really just something good to get it going. But we're actually working on improving our audio because we were originally doing it with this camera, but then I'd have a teleprompter in front of me so I could, say the lines off of his cell phone, and we recorded off of that. But we were gonna try to, improve a sound system so that way we could get the cleanest audio that we could possibly get. And then moving to that set in the garage, they made it, of course. I don't know if you saw our recent ones with like the posters on the walls that say
Mm-hmm.
like, all the true crimes, to make it more entered into it.
Yeah. So maybe when you take this class, this sound and production class, maybe you guys can rent out the equipment, the sound equipment.
That'd be a great idea. But
Mm-hmm.
again, he's got a kick-ass camera, and he does have a mic. I think, yeah, he does have a mic. Not quite the same as yours, the one you got there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like a stem mic. It's more for like booming and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the sound equipment that they have at the school, this is actually good. It's a whole cart and whatnot.
Yeah.
You get the lavalier mics and whatnot that you can rent out from them.
Oh,
Pretty
that's fucking
pretty nice.
interesting. That's fucking interesting, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's kind of how we're seeing it. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But I can't wait until you guys start putting out more content.
Yeah, you'll see some content this week for sure. There'll probably be a few videos at least, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I guess that does it then. Thank you for joining me.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Abraham. It was great, and thanks
Mm-hmm.
for preparing those questions and getting everything going. Check us out, please. Grim and Gruesome on YouTube Shorts and or TikTok. We upload just about every week.
Every week. Um, I guess that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope everyone enjoyed our conversation with Isaiah from Grim and Gruesome. And this has been the come up, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
All right. You have a nice one, man. Thanks for having me.
Bye.